Hi, this is Dee, and you're listening to my podcast, Let Me Clear My Throat. In my last episode, we touched on, the episode was called Domestically, UnAlived, and we touched base on domestic violence and suicide. And when the two are combined, the results are just horrific and tragedy, and I guess I'm just tongue-tied because they're just, I don't even know how to put the words together. My last podcast was very, very hard for me to do and very triggering for me. I talked about my very best friend, who is a domestic violence victim and fell victim to suicide. And 10 years later, her son also ended up killing himself. And I am a domestic violence survivor. And I am a self-harm survivor and a suicidal victim survivor. And I talked in depth about both subjects. And I also had printed off some information from domesticshelters.org and also thehotline.org. And I actually I was almost close to 2 hours long in it, so I had actually cut off. And I wanted to pick up a little bit on where I left off, because this subject is very, very very vital, to say the least. But as sad it is to say, I think it's more common than what people realize, because domestic violence is and sadly it's become, I don't want to say it's very real, but it's gotten to be so real that to some people it's just became a way of life. And so many people are like, I don't see how so-and-so could stay with them. I don't see how they could keep going back to it. I don't see, why they put up with it. Or I don't see how somebody could do that to somebody. Or, there's a lot of scenarios, and or when somebody ends up taking their life, or when there's a murder-suicide, when somebody kills their loved one and then ends up killing themselves, which is also something, unfortunately, is common. People start to look for signs, and why did I see this, and why didn't I catch that, and blame goes back and forth. People blame themselves. I went through some of that myself when my friend committed suicide. What did I miss? I went through all of my things at home, because I explained in my last podcast, she brought all of her important papers and stuff to my home, and so I was going through my home, seeing if maybe she left something behind, a note or some kind of clues or something, or some kind of explanation. Had I missed something? And I remember our conversations. I remember watching her tail lights until I couldn't see them. And I replayed it so many times over and over in my mind. And when she committed suicide, I was so angry at her. And I couldn't understand why she had left her 2 kids behind. And they were by different dads, and they got separated. And one was the son by the husband that had abused her. And so, therefore, he was left with him. And sadly, 10 years later, that same boy ended up killing himself. But it was later, as sadly as it sounds, I want to say, like, people back up to where I was saying that domestic violence to some people just ends up becoming a way of life. I think I'm going to elaborate on that, because I think that when you get into a type of relationship like that, it becomes all that you know. And you're always hoping that the next relationship isn't going to be like that, or the next situation is going to be different, or, you're going to try something different, or maybe, because I have this thing that I say, you're going to have bumps and bruises and ups and downs in any relationship you're in. It's finding that person that you want to go through it with that makes the difference. However, the side piece to that is, it doesn't mean you deserve to be somebody's punching bag. And that doesn't have to be just physical abuse. Nobody deserves to be treated like that. And unfortunately, when the only thing you know is that type of life, you know no different. So you see it as that's all you know. And then when you are treated differently, to you that's odd. Or it's too good to be true. Or you're waiting for something. You're waiting for something. I mean, this isn't right. Something's not right with this. It seems very off to you. Or, this person can't be real. Or some people think that they don't deserve to be treated that good because they have been treated this other way for so long that it becomes a part of your identity, that you have believed this type of abuse because it's been impounded in you, that it becomes a part of the reflection that you feel and that you see of yourself. So you feel and see nothing different than what you have been made to feel and made to believe this whole time. It's been a part of your being. And so compliments, I am first to admit to myself, I am not good at compliments. I'm very good at giving them. I am horrible at receiving them. I don't know how to take a compliment. And it's not that I'm rude about it. It's just I'm not good at compliments. I get compliments, but I don't know what to do with them. One time somebody gave me a compliment, and all I did was I just kind of giggled. And I was like, ridiculously giggled. And my sister that was there, and I was in high school, by the way, at this time, and my sister was like, she appreciates it. And she looked at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, what? I didn't know what to say. So I just kind of giggled. And this was in high school. So, I mean, I just didn't know what to do with it. And I've been abused. I have been through abuse my whole complete life. And not just in relationships with significant others or boyfriends or whatever, but my complete life. And I have been a victim to witnessing abuse with my parents and other people. And it takes a toll on you to where when you grow up in that type of environment, you learn from that. It leaves an impression with you. And you believe that it's normal, that this is the way it is. And when you're growing up from such a tender age and you're learning your ABCs and your 1, 2, 3s and your colors, and at the same time you're witnessing this type of abuse, no matter how small it is, that in itself is a part of your learning process. So it's as natural to you as learning your ABCs. And so this is what you're evolving into. Either you're on the receiving end or you're on the giving end, or both. And it can have effects both ways, or it can have effect one way or the other. But then again, sometimes people have a lot of anger in them. They have a lot of abandonment. They have a lot of emotions and sadness that they don't know where to put it. Sometimes some people get angry and upset that they just kind of black out, and then they just don't even know where they go. And they always say the ones that you love the most are the ones that you hurt the most, because they're the ones that are there. And I believe that's true to a huge extent. However, sometimes I feel like that can also be an excuse as well. Because you're not the only one going through the pain, obviously. If you were in a relationship and you were angry at your significant other, or you were abusing them, and you want things to change, well, things are not going to change if you're the one still doing what you're doing. How do you expect the other person to change if you're not changing anything for the results to be different? If you're still abusing them, how do you expect them to get better when you're not putting forth the effort to get better too? Nothing is going to change if the process isn't an equal entity of unity, because it takes two. And I'm not saying that it takes two to be a victim, but in some cases it does. And I'm not making an excuse, but there's all different visions to look at it. Because, and I'm speaking as a survivor of domestic violence, I have hid bruises. I have had my head banged to the floor. I have been lifted up in the air, pinned to the wall by my throat. I have been through a lot of stuff in my life. So I'm not saying this lightly, but domestic violence comes from somewhere. But so does being a victim. People can change. And they can change for the good. People have the right to be able to have the chance to change. People have the right to not always be a victim. People have the right to stand up for themselves. People have the right to not feel like they have to, the only way to survive is to kill themselves. And people have the right to want to live. Live with what they've done. Live to be able to forgive themselves. Live to be able to get help. Live to be able to say they're sorry. Not only to their victim and to their family, but to themselves. Whether they're the abuser or the one being abused. There's blame on both sides. Both sides. I'm such a fool. What was I thinking? What did I do? Why did I say? Why did I do this to them? Why did I let them do this? Why did I let them get me like this? The list goes on and on and on. Why do I keep getting in relationships like this? Why do I why does this keep happening? Why do I keep getting triggered? What is wrong with me? Why don't I deserve to be happy? All these emotions and then some go through everybody's minds at one point in time, I believe. There's trauma everywhere. That's what's so painful. Everybody has the right to heal. I say everybody has the right not to be traumatized. And that is true. But in all honesty, I shouldn't have to say that. This world is so hell-bent on trauma and drama. We are so programmed on dictating pain and judgment on one another. But then be hypocrites and say, don't judge me. You don't know what I've been through. You don't know my pain. I've changed. I'm a changed person. But then turn right around and contradict you or contradict themselves and say, you'll never change. You're just the same. You do the same thing all the time. You say you've gone through this, that, and the other. It's just excuses. But yet they have the right to change. They have the right to go through pain and trauma. They have the right to be forgiven. Why can't you? And maybe this is taking a little bit of a twist, but it goes together. And like I said, I'm not taking this podcast lightly because this is a huge trigger for me. But the only way we're going to make any accomplishment and any progress is being honest with it. Because the only way we're going to stop domestic suicide and domestic violence is going to the source of it. The abuser. The pain. Why? Why is it going on? What is the cause of it? How can we heal it? How can we intervene it? Without judging. How can we help? And I'm not making excuses for the abuser. I'm not making excuses for somebody who has killed somebody and has blown away somebody's family or somebody's something, or somebody who's committed suicide. I mean, my best friend. I'm not making excuses for somebody who is laid up in the hospital and on life support or whatever the case may be. I'm not making excuses for the abuser. I'm trying to find a way to heal the abuser so there are not any more abusers to have to abuse those people or anybody else again. And maybe people are like, oh, well, good luck there. That mindset right there is not a good beginning. And maybe that sounds far-fetched, but we've got to have hope and faith in it. Or else we're just going to keep being victims to these abusers. We have to stand somewhere. If we are going to be victims to something, let's be victims to help, heal, and take it a point of as a form of healing ourselves. Because in order to heal ourselves, We have to be able to heal the source of the thing that has killed us. We have to take the seed out of the ground, per se, so it doesn't bloom. Because you don't want it to grow anymore. You don't want... In order to... Okay. Let's just say we heal one abuser. Let's start small. It's small, but it's not. It's a big deal. Even one is a big. We heal one abuser. That one abuser is now not going to abuse a multitude of victims. That one abuser just saved, us healing one abuser just saved multiple lives. And I'm not just talking one person, because when you abuse one person, you abuse many people. And we're not going to play sexual here, whether it's man or woman. So let's just say, hypothetically, you got person A as the abuser and person B as the victim. Person A abuses person B. There are children involved. Person A abuses person B. You're not just abusing person B. You're abusing person B and all them kids. You're not just abusing one person. Person A just abused a whole family. If you help heal person A, then you can help save that whole family. And in the meantime, all those kids are going to be saved to not go on to be abusers. Because if they don't heal person A, then all of those kids are going to be victim and fall susceptible to possibly go on and follow in the footsteps of abuser A, or be susceptible to be abuser B, or mixed in the bunch. And some might be A, some might be B, or some might be both. And then that goes on. What's that do? It goes on to their families. And then it goes on to their families. And then it goes on to their families. And so on, generations and generations. All because we couldn't help and we didn't intervene person A and person B. Because person B needs to heal too. Throwing them in jail doesn't heal them. That just puts them in the system and gives the system money and makes them more angry. Sometimes. Now, I'm not going to say all the time because I'm not in the system with it. And maybe it might help them. I don't know. I've been known for the system not to be all the time great and rehabilitating. But I'm not saying it's all like that. But that's not going to help victim B. All those therapy sessions and whatever. Because what are they going to do? But they're going to be anything like me. They're going to keep getting in relationships like that. Because how many other people out there are going to be like victim A? Or, abuser A. And it keeps going on and on. It's like a big, huge... It's like a big, huge graveyard. That's what it is. And that's where we need to figure out what we're supposed to do. We need to now, do I have all the answers? No, I don't. No, I don't. I just know that I just know I have a best friend laying in a cemetery who doesn't even have a tombstone. And she's been there 24 years. And her husband couldn't even buy her a tombstone. And the sad thing of it is, nobody's ever came to visit her. Nobody's ever laid flowers on her grave. Nobody even knows her story. Until I talked about it in my podcast. Or until I posted it on my TikTok. But I also know that she is not the only she's not the only faceless grave. But you know what? She didn't deserve to die. She didn't deserve to die. She was 32 years old. She had a whole life still ahead of her. She had a 4-year-old and a 7-year-old. He couldn't even buy her a tombstone. If I had the money, I'd buy her a tombstone. You better believe I would. Maybe someday I'll get enough money to put one on there for her. Because it took me a long time to find her grave. They had to give me a map of the cemetery. I finally found it. Counting gravestones. His son, her son has one. She's next to her son. Her son has one, but she doesn't. And you know, I had when I went there, I sat down on the ground next to her and I took a picture of me in the grass. Me and her. And I thought to myself, this is going to be my next podcast. Because this doesn't deserve to happen. Ever. Nobody deserves to ever feel that level. to feel like the only way of hope is to kill yourself. And nobody deserves to feel that they have the right to play God, or they have the right to treat people that they deserve to feel as worthless as they do. To not want to be alive anymore. They say that people treat you as a reflection of how they feel. That may or may not be true. I don't know. People say a lot of things. People can say whatever they want to say. They're going to anyway. The fact of the matter is, there are a lot of resources out there, but at the same time too, the biggest resource that you should really not want to contact or be a part of and that you should do everything possible to not participate in is the cemetery. And I'm going to go over, like I said, these podcasts. I usually, sometimes I try to listen to my podcast because I need to be in my audience sometimes too. Because I use these podcasts as a big healing for me as well. And I need to be in my ears sometimes as well. In a nice way, because I've been in my ears so many times negatively that I've been trying to teach myself to do positive reinforcement, but also to be in my ear in positive ways and positive talks and positive thoughts and I wanted to listen to my last podcast. One, because I wanted to listen to it, but also two, I wanted to kind of see where I kind of left off on it. But in all honesty, I couldn't do it because when I did the podcast, it really triggered me and it was very emotional for me. I really, talking about my friend Ann was her name, Ann is her name. I only talk about her periodically. Well, I won't even say periodically. Not very often. Because it's such a very tender subject for me. My youngest daughter has her middle name. And my oldest granddaughter, her middle name is Anne's first name. Because her name is Anne Marie. So my youngest daughter's middle name is Marie. And my oldest granddaughter's middle name is Anne. So my son picked out my granddaughter's middle name. He asked me how to spell Anne's first name. And then, of course, I found out I was pregnant with my youngest daughter not too long after my best friend passed away. And so she got the name Marie. But anyway, I couldn't do it. I couldn't listen to it. And so I wanted to do this podcast sooner. I was actually going to do it right after I did the last one. But when I finished the last one, I honestly, I couldn't do it. And so some time has went by since I did the last one. And I've got all these different ideas for more podcasts I want to do. I'm like, well, I can't do anything until I need to do this other one. And so this is just a very important subject. And then I got to think, I don't know what I'm going to talk about, which was really kind of silly because there's so much to talk about on this subject, which also is very heartbreaking. But so that being said, I'm going to go over a little bit more papers that I have, which is actually some more important information. And if I stumble a little bit, I apologize, because like I said, this is very, very close to my feelings. So, this is taken from domesticshelters.org. And if you haven't been on domesticshelters.org or on the hotline.org, THEHOTLINE.org, or domesticshelters.org, I recommend you do so. They got a lot of great information on there, a lot of great references. Some very helpful stuff. They have things for the people that are abusers. Let me rephrase that. Well, yes, for abusers, the people that have been abusive. Some resources for you to get help. And then there are also there for people that have been abused. So there are resources for both sides. So it's not just one for the people that are being abused. So it's for both sides. So you can get help if you are someone that has been abusive to someone or has had that kind of lifestyle that you have been in. There are definitely resources on there for you as well. So please check that out. So this goes on to talk about domestic violence survivors. So it says, according to the hotline.org, the definition of domestic violence is a pattern of behaviors used to gain or maintain power and control. And on domesticshelters.org, domestic violence survivors thinking of suicide. This is written by Stephanie Thurrott on March 30th, 2022. It's not uncommon during or after abuse to think suicide is your only way out. Information shared in this piece may be triggering to some. If you are having suicidal thoughts, you can reach out 24/7 to the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline at 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255 for support from a trained counselor. If you or a loved one are in immediate danger, please consider calling 911. There is also the suicide help and prevention hotline at 988. There's a strong link between domestic violence and suicide. So if you're a domestic violence survivor, you may sometimes have suicidal thoughts. The Partnership Against Domestic Violence reports that women or males who are exposed to violence can have a risk of suicide. It says women who are exposed to violence have a risk of suicide up to 17 times higher than women who aren't exposed to violence. Now this, I'm going to go on to say though, domestic violence and suicide does not know any sex or gender, because males are victim to domestic violence and suicide just as much as females. Now, statistically speaking, women might be higher in statistics. However, men are also victims. Just because men might be more stronger or more masculine or whatever does not mean that they cannot be abused or suicidal or be victim. Does not mean that they are not. And if you are a male being abused, please don't be embarrassed. Please reach out and get help, because you are very important. You are not less of a man if you reach out for help. Do not think that you are belittled for reaching out for help. No matter what your significant other, whether it be a male or female in your life, has made you feel, you are worth more than what you have been made to feel. And you have every right to reach out and get help. Let's see. According to the American Psychological Association, domestic violence survivors are twice as likely to attempt suicide more than once compared to people who don't experience this type of violence. Several different factors can play into increased risk for suicide if you're a domestic violence survivor. How to turn off those negative voices and find hope for the future. You may feel the only way to get out of abusive relationships is to end your life. One big difference in domestic violence survivors is that people feel so helpless and hopeless and stuck. I know that feeling. You may be experiencing low self-esteem. Emotional abuse is often part of intimate partner violence. Your partner may degrade and belittle you and tell you you are useless. They may even say, "I wish you were dead," or tell you to kill yourself. Intimate partner violence and domestic violence rarely negatively impact. Intimate partner violence and domestic violence really negatively impact people's sense of themselves, and their sense of their life has meaning and purpose. You may be isolated. Social support helps protect people from thinking about suicide and attempting suicide. If a perpetrator keeps you from having contact with your family, friends, or religious community or work community, then you don't get the benefits of that social support. You may also feel like you have to protect your partner, so you don't tell your family and friends how much you're struggling. You might have people you can turn to for support in other areas of your life, but you don't have support about what you need most. I know that when I was going through, I say this, but it's pretty much in every aspect. Sometimes you kind of feel like you're on your own, because you do kind of feel like you make excuses, because you don't want to talk bad about your significant other, because one, you love them. You don't want to talk bad about them because you don't want to be like them and put them down. And you feel like if you say bad things about them, then you're like them. You're putting them down. And you're always trying to find the good in them because you're always feeling the bad parts of them. So you try to find the good in them, and you always try to emphasize the good of them, because that helps you to continue to see the positive side of things. Because you're all the time feeling the pain and the hurt, that you try to hold on to the positive side of things, because then that gives you hope that you might be able to hold on to this relationship that you are so desperately trying to love still. Because this person that you have fell in love with for a reason, and you're so desperately trying to hold on to this relationship that the pieces that are hurting you, you're trying to mask them, if you will, and overshadow them with the good parts that you're trying to shine a light on, if you will, in order to protect what little bit of you have left. And so that's what you're trying to believe in. And then it gets to the point where you have nothing left. It's either you feel defeated because their words are like bullets. And eventually you have so many holes in you, you're hollow. And you just, there's just nothing left of you. At least that's the way you feel anyway. At least that's the way I felt. Let's see, where was I? It says you may feel helpless. If your partner wields power and control over you, you may feel helpless. And that helplessness can lead to hopelessness, depression, and suicidal thoughts. You may be getting negative messages from your partner. Your partner may say, yes, you're crazy or stupid, or aren't treating them nicely. They may bring up things they did in the honeymoon phase of the relationship as a way to deny their behaviors. These messages may lead you to question reality, wonder what's wrong with you, and ask yourself why you can't handle your situation better. It unsettles people's sense of themselves. When is it time to get help? Separating from an abusive partner may help reduce your risk of suicide and domestic violence, but it might not be possible for you to leave. If this is the case, you can still take steps to reduce and eliminate your suicide thoughts. First of all, you need to appreciate that it's really, really hard. You have to do whatever you can to take care of yourself. Reaching out to a professional counselor, if possible, is important. If you're unable to leave your house without being interrogated, you may want to try another online therapy option. You can also always reach out to trained counselors at the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline 24/7 via chat or phone at 800-273-8255 or 988. Available in some areas now and across the U.S. When your mind begins to go to places of suicide. In addition, one of these tactics may help you turn off those negative voices inside you. Now, I'm going to say this very sadly. Yes, please write this information down. No, or better yet, try to memorize it. 988 is a very easy number to memorize. Sometimes, depends on what kind of relationship you're in and how controlling they are. If they are monitoring everything you're doing, it is very difficult to do anything. It is difficult to leave the house. It's difficult to call anybody. It's difficult to go see anybody. It's difficult to reach out. It's difficult to breathe. That is how you're controlled. So it does feel like you have no way out. You have no way out. The thing of this is, and I'm gonna say this, but I don't want to put thoughts in your head either, because I don't know your situation. Everybody is human. Everybody is human. People make mistakes. People slip up. People let their guards down. People, I don't know, I'm going to say this. Windows of opportunities. I don't have the answers. Just look for windows of opportunities. But be careful. Even if you have to go naked, be careful. Because when it comes down to your life, if you get picked up for indecent exposure, at least then there you're safe. Because then you have a reason and you are safe. You want to draw some attention, you get picked up by the police for indecent exposure. I'm just saying. The only place that you need to... I'm going to say this because, well, this is easy for me to say now because I'm stronger. And that's the difference of me now. Because if you're going through something, this sounds like, oh, you're saying this like it's just so easy. And yeah, I guess I am, because I'm stronger now than what I was then. But when I was married to my first husband, I didn't work. Every time I try to get a job, he'd be like, well, you can go to work, that's fine, but when you come back, me and the kids are going to be gone. just count us getting a divorce and you go to work. He wouldn't let me work. I had my beginners 3 times because he wouldn't let me drive. I talked about my last podcast. I very codependent on him taking me anywhere. Because I didn't have a license. I wanted to go roller skating. He would not let me go roller skating. I begged and begged and begged and begged and begged forever to go roller skating. He would not let me go. I cried. I just wanted to go roller skating. He told me no. I think back to this now, and I'm thinking, nowadays, well, I ain't gonna tell you what I'd say, or what I would have done, but that's now because I'm stronger. But it got to the point where I had no money, I had no way of transportation. I had 2 kids, no phone. We had no phone at home because then we didn't have cell phones. I had no home phone at all, so I couldn't call nobody. No way of communication. No transportation. I was cut off. He was gone at work all day long. And now he'd come in and he'd give me his check to do the bills and whatnot. So I started taking just a few dollars each week off the check. Just a little bit of money. And I would hide it into my daughter's room, which she was like 1.5 probably at the time. And I would hide it in there. Trying to save up some money because I was trying to get me a nest egg enough to be able to leave. And every time I'd get a little bit saved up, something would happen. And I'd have to get it secretly to take care of whatever. And I'd have to start over. And then the abuse really started picking up. And when I would have bruises on my arms and whatever, and I was very open about it, and people like, oh, I don't believe that. He wouldn't do that. People didn't want to believe me. Oh, he wouldn't do that. I don't know. He wouldn't do that. Okay, I'm making it up. I'm making it up. Nobody wanted to believe me. He's got me pinned down on the floor in the kitchen, between the kitchen and the living room on the floor. Because it was like a 24 by 24 living room and a big long kitchen, and there was like no wall between it, so it was like straight shot through. And he was had me pinned to the floor, choking me, banging my head to the floor, with my 2 kids standing over me, our 2 kids standing over me. My son wanting to know what was wrong, what was going on, and he was like 4. And I had to put my foot, I pulled my leg up, placed my foot on his stomach, and pushed him all the way across the kitchen as far as I could to get him off of me. And I picked up his bow case, started shoving what I could in his bow case. It was raining outside. I picked it up, threw it out the door, and told him to get out. He was not going to abuse me and the kids anymore. He wasn't abusing the kids, but he was not going to abuse us no more. Well, I mean, he was abusing the kids because he's abusing me. And he said he'd go to anger management classes. So we went to counseling. I went first because they wanted to see me first. Then he went. He went one time. I think it was one time. Maybe two. I don't remember. It's all a blur. It was like a month. Probably the best month of our whole marriage. Then I found out he was messing around on me. So we got divorced. Had a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old on my hip. No car. No phone. No home. No money. No job. I started with nothing but my babies. So I know it's doable. For a long time, he was not allowed to know where I lived. He picked up and dropped off the kids at my mother's house. He was not allowed to know my phone number. He called the kids at my mom's house. I was protecting myself. It wasn't until my kids were in junior high and high school I moved about 45 minutes away from my mom that I let him know where I lived. And I said to him, I said, do you remember all these years when I wouldn't let you know where I lived? And he said, yeah. And I said, do you remember how you felt not knowing where I lived? He said, yeah. I said, you take it for granted, and that's what you're going to go through again. And he respected it. Now, mind you, I'd known him since I was 8 years old. We used to play hide and go seek together. Our families knew each other growing up. My parents and his parents were friends. And we got along better divorced than we did when we were married. Excuse me. And ironically, this is what I'm saying. When it falls down the line, one time my son got mad at me. Now, mind you, I raised my son. You don't put your hands on a woman. And my son knows this. But one time my son got mad. It was a long story on this one. But he got mad. And he went to, come towards me. I'm not saying he was coming to hit me or nothing. He was coming towards me. And I guess my ex-husband, his dad, didn't like his body language as he came towards me. And the same man that used to abuse me snatched my son up, pinned him against the wall, and said, son, that's your mother. So I know that there is hope that people can change. People can heal and change. Because the same man that used to hold me against the wall by my throat was intervening our son from coming at me too fast. Not knowing what he was going to do. Now, mind you, my son has never put his hands on a woman and was raised not to. But my ex did not like the way his body language read and snatched him up real quick and put him up against that wall and said, "Son, that's your mother." So there is hope. And that's where the healing has to go. Because that same son of mine was the same son that stood over me, asking me what was wrong when my ex-husband, his dad, was choking me and banging my head to the floor. It's not just about the abuser and the abuse and the victim. It's a whole family. Whether you got kids or no kids, you're still a family. It says, find ways to give yourself a sense of meaning and power. Having a sense of purpose can make a big difference. That could be taking care of your children, working or finding ways to contribute to your community. Have a place to put yourself. Have a place to put your feelings. Find something, somewhere to put your feelings, and something that is yours. I don't know, get into making crafts or writing or something that is important to you. Have a positive place to put your emotions and your feelings that'll help offset your pain. So take your pain and try to put it somewhere positive, the best that you can, and help relieve some of that. Have a place to put it. And that is very important. Take that from me. That is very important. Because if you don't, your feelings will literally eat you alive. Turn to any support you can find. Even if you only have a few minutes when your partner leaves, try to connect with someone who can help you. A friend, family member, coworker, or advocate at a local helpline. Have safety plans in place, along with a safety plan for domestic violence. Having a safety plan for suicidal thoughts, where you outline warning signs, coping strategies, and people and places you can turn to for help. Make your environment safe. Remove guns, knives, extra pills from your home so you're less likely to be able to act on suicidal thoughts if you have them. Now this might be difficult because if your abuser is carries a weapon or is a hunter or has a collection of guns or knives or is on medication, or if you're on medication, that might be a little difficult. So try to, when you are, I'm going to say this with respect, when you are not in your suicidal when you are not so susceptible to your suicidal thoughts and you are more calm, try to make a positive game plan and a coping mechanism and calming mechanisms for when you may get into those moments. Because when you're in those moments, you're less likely to be able to think straight, to be able to come up with things at that moment and be more rational. So try to think of a game plan ahead of time. before you get into those moments. And then try to have a backup plan, because not all plans go with the moment. Depends on what your feelings and emotions are. So try to have a couple of different coping mechanisms. I know before I was always talk about, I say my ABCs and stuff. Those help with my anxiety. Suicidal thoughts and anxiety, it is a totally different emotion. Suicidal thoughts are very, very, I don't even know the word for it. I don't even know the word for it, because when I got into that mindset, I prayed really, 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 really hard. And I don't even know how to answer that question. I don't want to sugarcoat it. I don't want to make something up. Everybody's different. Because when I got to that, that moment's a blur for me. It's a blur. I remember bits and pieces of it. I don't even know how to answer that question. I remember parts of it. I remember sitting in my bed. I remember crying so hard I couldn't hardly see. I couldn't even hardly see. I couldn't even hardly function. I couldn't even think. I can't even think now. I don't even, it's a blur. I left a audio message, I believe. Sent it to myself. I believe. I held a gun to my head. I had a gun to my head. Held it to my right temple. For a while, I couldn't remember what stopped me. And I believe it was, I take care of my mom. I've talked about this before. My mom is blind and bedridden. My dad died of going on 4 years now. It's hard to believe. In January. My mom called me and she needed me. She needed me to come in the house. She needed me to help her with something. I don't remember what it was. I don't remember any of it after that. separated my bullets and my gun and separated them apart from each other. I kept them apart from each other to keep back temptation until I could heal. And I locked my gun up. I was trying to be a responsible, healing, suicidal victim. And I prayed so hard. My whole life I had always wanted to kill myself. I always wished I was dead. I've been so abused and traumatized my whole life. But I couldn't take no more. I was hollow. But by the grace of God, and a lot of prayer, and a lot of honesty with myself and continued self-healing, and a lot of self-reflection and crying, and my podcast, definitely my podcast. For the first time in my life, I want to live. So I know people can heal, and I know people can change. Am I done healing? Am I done changing? No. I'm going to continue doing it for the rest of my life. But the only thing different is that I know that I can, and I know that I am. I am not hiding behind my scars anymore. I am my scars. Because my scars are who I am, and I am proud of who I am. Inside and out. I've got scars all over my body. Visually. I used to try to hide them, but I don't. I have survived this. I have earned and survived my scars. And I don't deserve to hide behind them. Because each one of them, they define me. I don't define them. I am me, and I am proud of it. I'm going to try to continue on here before I end up getting all snotty and snot in your ear, and that won't be very, no, that's not nice. Okay, that was corny. Oh, goodness. A lot of time crying in your guys' ear. It's okay, though, because it's real. I say it's okay because I'm not your ear, but at least I'm being straight up and honest with you. I mean, this is me. This is real life. This is, I mean, I'm not apologizing. I mean, I guess it sounds like I am. I guess I am, but I'm not. I'll be quiet and I'll just read on because I'm rambling now. I just... I'm going to take a breath. Okay. All right. Steer clear of alcohol and drugs. If tempting to self-medicate to cope with abuse, but alcohol and drugs make the cycle of violence worse. There's all different forms of self-medicating. It's just not alcohol and drugs. I've talked about this many times in my other podcasts. The self-medication comes in a lot of different forms, but obviously alcohol and drugs is one of the ones that are really emphasized the most, it seems. Cigarettes are addicting, they're a form of drug. You got vaping, you got theft, stealing, you've got gambling, you've got anything that brings you any type of satisfaction or any type of reinforcement, if you will, of I guess satisfaction of I can't even think right now. Sorry. Triggering myself right now. I'm trying to calm myself back down. Anything that helps to try to give you any type of reinforcement of positive, well, a lot of times you think it's positive reinforcement, but I guess, I hope that explains it. I can't really, I hope that explains it. But obviously that can have a very negative effect on you, and sometimes drugs and alcohol can leave a very harsh counteraction on people, and chemically in your brain and stuff, and can lead to psychosis. And if you're on medication on top of that, mixing it, and obviously mixing your alcohol and your drugs together, and your medication and your drugs and alcohol, or if you're on medication and you mix it with drugs, and you mix in drugs with drugs, even some over-the-counter medication might have different things. And of course, what we eat today, that it is in preservatives. You never know what's in our food and drinks that we eat, and you mix that with drugs and alcohol and over-the-counter medication, it might have a counteraction with stuff. You just never know. It's a little bit of everything. So just try to do positive reinforcements. Because you've got so much negative already in your life. Try to alleviate and take away things that will have contradiction of positive effects, if you will, against yourself. Try to take things that are against you away from you, and put things that are more positive and complimenting towards you. And you've had enough negative vibes on you, negativeness to you, and harmful things put on you, and put positive things on you and towards you, goodness with you, because you are worth good, and you are worth positive, and you deserve better. Articulate your reason for living. It can be helpful to state what those reasons are clearly. You might want to write down your top reasons for living or make a list. It can be as simple as living for your pet curled up at your feet, or living because you still want to see the ocean. Now, this might be a good game plan, especially when you are in a better frame of mind, because this can kind of be kind of like a part of your positive reinforcement, if you will, a focal point. Set some goals. That might help you to be able to have something to look forward to and keep you motivated to keep going in a positive direction. Suicide is permanent, but the pain isn't. Having someone tell you, "But you have so much to live for," might sound meaningless when you feel like you're at the bottom of a deep well and pain is overwhelming. A type of tunnel vision can lead a person contemplating suicide to only see one solution in front of them: a life of pain or ending the pain, when in actuality there are other options. What? I don't know what that thing can get better. That don't make sense. Things can get better even though it may not feel that way. It may help to think of your emotions like a storm. Storms are moving constantly. They pass by, and though they may come again, they don't stay still in one place. One house is not rained on for all of eternity. A tornado will eventually dissipate. You may also want to remind yourself that just as you have the power to make a permanent choice, like suicide, you also have the power to change your circumstances, even at just one step at a time. Just because you are struggling does not mean you are failing. So I'm going to go over. See, I got a half an hour here. I say half hour. I try to keep it at. My podcast only lets me do no more than 2 hours, so I try to keep it under 2 hours. Sometimes that's why I get cut off sometimes. So, let me see if they got any more resources here, so I can. Okay. So obviously, they have things on here what you can expect when you call them, when you contact the hotline.org. Says it's natural to feel anxious and contacting them, especially if it is your first time reaching out for help. Advocates undergo extensive training to support survivors of domestic violence, and our services are always confidential. Reaching out for help is the first step towards improving your situation, and it's important to recognize your own courage in taking this vital step. It is essential for you, for your own safety, that you contact us when your partner isn't around. This can be hard to do if you live in the same residence, but abusive partners are likely to react with anger as you take steps to regain control in your life. If your partner comes home or walks in while you are speaking with an advocate, immediately disconnect your call. Remember to protect your digital privacy and take steps to delete your number from your phone or clear their internet browsing history after visiting the hotline.org. Self-care is always important, but it can be easy to forget while you're in an abusive relationship. Taking care of yourself can be as simple as eating a good breakfast or getting enough sleep at night. Doing it every day is what's important. Many advocates recommend writing in a journal, reading a good book, or taking a long bath to ease your mind. Before an advocate can help, they'll need to know your specific circumstances. This will likely be difficult to talk about, but it'll give you an opportunity to express yourself and to raise concerns you might have about your relationship. Some advocates recommend summarizing your situations through a timeline of a relationship or by explaining a recent altercation to help get a better idea of what options are available to you. You know your situation best. People contact us at various stages of their relationship. So we'll need to understand what steps you're likely to take in order to provide you with informed support. Our advocates will never make decisions for you. Only you have the right to do that. So discussing your options can simply be a useful way to help you make your best decisions. Whether you're trying to improve communications with your partner, planning how to leave your partner, or finding ways to feel safer at home, you will always have your options. Our advocates are here to help you sort through your choices to figure out what's your best specific situation. Our advocates are here to help you process your situation, and you'll likely have additional questions throughout our conversation, as well as some things you might not have felt comfortable asking at the start. Remember that our services are always confidential and that our advocates are available 24/7 to help in whatever ways you determine to be best. Our advocates are here to listen without judgment and help you to begin to address what's going on in your relationship. Services are always free and available 24/7. Call 800-799-SAFE, that's SAFE, or 800-799-7233. So whichever way it's easiest for you to remember. So it's 7233 spells the word safe. So if it's easier for you to remember, that's 800-799-SAFE, SAFE. So if it says, the question is, I've been abusive to my partner. Will the hotline help me? This is where I was talking about earlier. If you are someone who is abusive, they also help services for you. They say, of course, we frequently get contacted by people who identify as abusive or who are concerned about behaviors that they may be unhealthy. A person who is abusive also wonders what to expect when you contact us, but it's the same as everyone else. We treat everyone who contacts us with dignity and respect and support accountability, and that recognizes these moments as opportunities to plant a seed for change. I said that, seed. I said that thing too. Sorry. I hadn't read this part yet, so that's kind of interesting. What will an advocate recommend? Depending on your situation, our advocates will talk you through different courses of action. If you begin to identify unhealthy behaviors in your relationship throughout your call, they'll discuss those red flags with you and brainstorm healthy alternatives for your behavior. Our advocates can offer strategies to help you calm down and de-escalate situations if you feel yourself getting angry. They'll also help you understand how your actions negatively affect you as well as those around you. Advocates can help you learn more than battery intervention and prevention programs. Some people who contact us about battery intervention and prevention programs are looking for a referral because of court order. Others seek out this information on their own. Our advocates can help you find local services and recommend resources to fit your situation. We want to make talking about relationship abuse as easy as possible for everyone, regardless of their primary language. That is why we have partnered with Macy's to provide all contacts who need it with access to our language line. With our language line, callers can speak with our advocates in over 140 languages with the help of our trained interpreter. This allows our callers to share their story in the easiest way possible while receiving support and resources for their unique situation. Simply inform the advocate what language you would prefer, and they can get an interpreter on the line. So here are some resources. You feel free to write them down. Or like I said, you can go to this website and the other website that I was talking about. Let me pull that back up again. The hotline.org, THEHOTLIN.org. And then you also have, where's the other one at? Domesticshelters.org. So we got, you can call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 800-799-SAFE. Or you can go to the hotline.org and chat with a live advocate. You can text the word START, START, to 88788. That's START to 88788. And that's a text. Or you can call the helpline for Native Americans and Alaska Natives at 844-762-8483. Or you can call the National Teen Dating Abusive Helpline. And this is for young people. For 866-311-9474. And that's for young people experiencing abuse or curious about healthy relationships. They also have helpline for individuals who are deaf or hard of hearing. And there's a video phone. It's 855-812-1001. Then we also have the Suicide Prevention Hotline, which is 988. We have 911. You have your local police department, a fire station, a doctor, hospital, a church, a safe haven, somewhere or someone that you feel safe with. Those are just some resources. Like I said, go onto these websites. They have many, many more. Definitely somewhere to start with. And like I said, if you are someone who is abusive or feels like you have some emotions and some anger issues, they also can help you, because there is help for you. You are not a lost cause. You are not a lost cause. You deserve to be helped. You deserve to heal. You deserve to be saved too. And that's coming from a domestic abused victim survivor. many times over. And we've got to do something different in this world. Because accepting the words and the phrases, oh, something's got to change. We've got to change things in this world. Something's got to change. Something's got to give. This world's gone crazy. Well, we keep saying that. It's time to act on it. Saying is not going to make it better. The only thing that's going to make it better is by doing something about it. Even if it's just one family at a time. One A and B at a time. And we can just see how it goes. Because everybody deserves to not be a statistic, to not be a letter in the alphabet, to not be my best friend Ann, and feel like your only option is be nameless laying in a cemetery where nobody even knows you exist there. Like you didn't even matter to the world. Like you didn't even exist. So the man that put you there wins for your eternity. He won for your eternity. He not only took her life, but he won for eternity. Because nobody even knows she existed. So yeah, I guess he tells her she doesn't matter. I guess he was right. Because nobody even knows she exists. Because he didn't even give her a headstone. Talk about power and control. Nobody deserves that. Nobody. If you're going through something, please get help. Please. Please don't think you're only alternative. Please don't think your only alternative is to be like my friend Ann.
miss her all the time. Because she did matter. She mattered to her boys. She mattered to me. She mattered to her family, to her friends. She made a difference in this world. She was a good person. And if you are needing help in any way, whether you're A or B, please don't give up on yourself. Please get help. You matter. You can change. You can get help. If you're not in a healthy relationship, maybe you just doesn't mean you can't, doesn't mean you have to stay together. You know, maybe like my ex-husband and I, we just, my two ex-husbands or whatever, or the guys I've been with, I don't, just, sorry. This is such a hard podcast. Sometimes you need to work on healing yourself before you can be anybody else's something else. So sometimes you have to step away and heal. You have to step away and heal in order to be able to live. Without wanting to die. On purpose. Sometimes we suffocate on our own pain. And we don't know how else to breathe. But that doesn't mean there's other people out there that don't know how to show us or how to help us. And if you're going through something, reach out to one of the resources that I named. There's a lot of wonderful people in this world that are dedicated to help people. Please don't give up. And if you are in a relationship with somebody and you are going through something with somebody, and you are being abused, and you are in danger, like I said, I don't care if you have to be naked. Save yourself. Please save yourself. But don't kill yourself. Don't give them that kind of power and control for eternity. Because that's exactly what you would do. And like I always say, your time is the one thing in your life you can't get back. And if you've dedicated listening to me, I thank you wholeheartedly. Because your time is precious. And it is priceless. And if you have shared it with me, then you have given me a part of you that means something to you that you can't get back, and you've shared it with me. And I you. And I have shared mine with you. If you have not done so, please listen to my other podcasts. Feel free. I also have a YouTube channel, and I started TikTok. I'm still feeling my way on there, but feel free to check it out. And I thank all of you for tuning in, and thank you all for being there. Because even though I can't see who's there, just knowing that somebody's on the other end really helps me a lot too. It really does. Sometimes you just knowing somebody's there. Just knowing somebody's there really, really helps. So I thank you with all of my heart. And on that, I'm going to close out. And I will talk to you all again real soon. So on that, I'm going to close out. And you are listening to me. This is Dee. And you're listening to my podcast. Let me clear my throat. Thanks so much, and have a very great and blessed evening. Good night.